We have officially entered the era of combat with Star Wars-like lasers, as Israel announced that its groundbreaking laser beam defense system was used during this current Swords of Iron war. Billy, what do you think about these lasers?
First of all, it is remarkable that we have reached the technological sort of pier where we're now having conversations about lasers being used in war. And, you know, as you sort of read the story, though, and see the details, it's really incredible how far we've come technologically, but also this is a cost savings mechanism as far as we know. We're living in a world where you've got drones and you've got, you know, missiles coming over. And so the ability to do this sort of thing where you can stop these things from coming in, this is something that every country is going to need, virtually every country across the globe. And the fact that Israel has really perfected this from what we know, and it's been used already in active battlefields, opens up a whole new world of possibility on, you know, on war and technology.
So there's two sides of it. There's the logistical side, which I'll talk about in just a second, but there also is that like science fiction, what on earth moment that's almost a little comical. We're talking about lasers, like lasers being used in war right now. It does have that feeling of, you know, some sort of science fiction Star Wars movie, but it's not. I mean, this literally happened, and now Israel admitted that it's been using lasers in this current war. But I think the point goes back to the idea of, you know, this is kind of the next gen of the Iron Dome, the famous Iron Dome. And there's other things. There's, you know, the David Sling and all these kind of things. But what's really interesting to me, and I think an important point, is why does Israel need defensive lasers? Why does Israel need the Iron Dome? And I think for folks who've maybe never been to what they call the Gaza envelope, the communities around Gaza in southern Israel, you go from Sderot to Natif Hatza'ah. I've been all over this area. And literally every, I don't know, 100 meters, 100, yeah, I'm not exactly sure exactly the spacing, but I mean, literally you can see just bomb shelters everywhere. Every home has a bomb shelter. Every bus stop is a bomb shelter. Every school is a bomb shelter. You know, they build playgrounds only so high so that if rockets shot off, they have, you know, 15 seconds to run into another bomb shelter. You know, as someone who's been to Israel 30 times, I think it's important to remember that Iron Dome, this laser technology, is defensive. You know, I don't think anyone in Israel wants to spend gajillions of dollars building these defense systems. But when Hezbollah, you know, traditionally has been shooting tons of rockets, and obviously Hamas just intentionally shooting rockets at civilian areas, and then Iran shooting ballistic missiles from 1,000 miles, or however far away Tehran is to Israel. And you just think to yourself, what if Israel didn't have to do this? What if they didn't have to have this technology? And I think it's a point that we can maybe have some moral clarity when Israel has to use all of this money and all of these resources and all this technology and all this brain power to build all of these defensive weapons to not be killed by its neighbors. I think that's an opportunity for us to look soberly at, if you want to call it who's to blame, and obviously we can talk about, you know, security barriers and occupation. Now, that's not my point. My point here is that Israel has to do this because there are people and entities and groups and nations surrounding it that want to destroy it and openly declare that they want to destroy it. So the fact that Israel is, you know, leading the world in technology when it comes to defensive lasers is not that shocking to me. But Billy, where do you see this going? Do you see, not that you're a laser expert, but do you see this becoming kind of the new norm of combat?
Yeah, you know, I think it's so interesting, everything you just said, to sort of underscore this, the fact that you have a country that is constantly under duress and being attacked and being threatened with not just war, but we want you gone, wiped off the map, destroyed. They become the best possible country to develop these technologies, right? And so because of everything you just said, I believe this is why they have gotten so good at this. I do think you're going to see this becoming more important as a strategy. And so people understand, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Raj, but the way this technology works, it's not as though these beams are shooting up and obliterating these missiles and these drones. What they're doing is they sort of it's a laser that goes up and it creates a heat that basically destroys the wings or makes them crash, right, over time with that heat. And so it's a little different from what your mind might imagine, but I think we're going to see this develop and become a bigger thing because of the affordability of it.
Yeah.
From what I understand, it's much cheaper, and
Yeah.
because it's next gen, right? And you're going to have more drones and more of that tech coming in as time goes on, and you're going to have strategies to stop that from happening.
And I think that's the point, is that, when someone in the Palestinian Islamic Jihad or Hamas shoots off those little homemade rocket, it costs $100, $200, some gunpowder, and just fire it indiscriminately into Israel. The Iron Dome is really expensive. We're talking about the lasers, but let's go back to Iron Dome, a technology that's been around for a while. If you watch the video of Iron Dome, it is mind-blowing. A rocket is shot off indiscriminately, intentionally trying to kill civilians in the Jewish state, and a rocket, boom, gets shot off on some little launch pad. It shoots itself into the sky and hits this thing. It is unbelievable technology, but it's extremely expensive. I don't know the exact calculation, but tens of thousands of dollars per rocket. And so it's unsustainable. And so if people in Gaza, like Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, are just firing like they have in the past hundreds, if not thousands of rockets, you can't. That's just millions and millions of dollars. And the idea of being able to shoot a laser to disrupt these things. And again, if the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Hamas, the Houthis in Yemen, Iran, Hezbollah in Lebanon weren't firing missiles and precision guided missiles and ballistic missiles at Israel, this wouldn't need to happen. But I do think that there is I even think it's interesting that they've called it things like, David's sling, and they've used a lot of biblical names to talk about this protection that Israel needs. Again, it's a state, you've heard this a lot, it's a state the size of New Jersey. It's an imperfect place. But the fact that they have to build all this defensive technology because countries and entities on all sides are firing missiles at it constantly should tell you all you need to know. As we were getting started for this discussion, Billy, the Lord really put on my heart, this verse. It's Psalm 137-8, and this is a Christian network, and we're talking about lasers and missiles. But I do believe that he who watches Israel neither slumbers or sleeps. I do believe we should pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I pray that every day. But this is, I guess, my encouragement, where I think God has us in this moment. It's 2 verses. It says this: Israel, put your hope in the Lord, for with the Lord is unfailing love, and with him is full redemption. He himself will redeem Israel from all of their sins. And that might not seem related, Billy, but I think it's very related. Billy, I will give you the last word on our discussion about lasers.
We've got to be praying, as you were saying, for the peace of Jerusalem, for the peace of the Middle East. And at the end of the day, recognizing that there are a lot of other countries that are going to benefit from this as well. And so I think you're going to see America, other countries say, this is technology we need to have, especially in light of how really the entire world is off kilter and chaotic, and you don't know what's going to happen next. So Israel's going to be, because of their plight, the biggest exporter potentially of some of the most interesting war technology, including these lasers.
Billy, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.